What if I told you that the secret to winning any argument, acing your next big presentation, or even surviving your next family holiday was written down over 2,500 years ago by a Chinese general? Yeah, and no, it's not just about swords and horses.
Wait, are you saying my next awkward dinner with the in-laws could be improved by ancient military strategy? Because if Sun Tzu has a chapter on dodging political debates at Thanksgiving, I'm all ears.
Honestly, I wish. But seriously, the art of war isn't just about war. It's about strategy, leadership, and understanding people. I'm Maya, and I've definitely used Sun Tzu's advice to get out of more than a few sticky situations, including a disastrous group project in college. Never again.
And I'm Dax. I once tried to use deception, Sun Tzu style, to convince my roommates I'd done the dishes. Spoiler, they saw right through me. But hey, at least I'm good at learning from defeat.
So today, we're diving into Sun Tzu's The Art of War, the oldest military treatise in the world. But before you tune out thinking, this isn't for me, let's break down why these lessons still matter. Let's start with something wild. Sun Tzu says, all warfare is based on deception. That's not just about battlefields. It's about outsmarting obstacles in any part of life.
Right? And he doesn't just mean tricking your enemy. He's talking about keeping your cards close, adapting to change, and never letting people see you sweat. Like when you're nervous before a job interview, but you pretend you're calm and collected. That's pure Sun Tzu.
Exactly. And get this, Sun Tzu breaks down victory into 5 constant factors: the moral law, heaven, earth, the commander, and method and discipline. It sounds mystical, but it's basically ethics, timing, environment, leadership, and organization. If you nail these, you're already ahead of the game.
Let's be real. Heaven in this context is not about divine intervention. It's more like, did you check the weather before planning your outdoor wedding? Sun Tzu would have made a killer event planner.
And the commander, that's all about wisdom, sincerity, benevolence, courage, and strictness. So basically everything my cat lacks. But seriously, Sun Tzu says a leader's character is the backbone of any team, whether that's an army or your friend group trying to pick a restaurant.
And then there's discipline. Sun Tzu was obsessed with preparation. He says, the general who wins a battle makes many calculations in his temple ere the battle is fought. Translation, if you want to win, plan ahead. Don't just wing it and hope for the best. Unless you're me, trying to assemble IKEA furniture.
And here's a line that always gets me. Supreme excellence consists in breaking the enemy's resistance without fighting. The best victory is the one you achieve without even having to throw a punch. It's like winning the argument before it even starts. Or getting your siblings to do your chores because you made it seem like it was their idea.
That's the ultimate Jedi mind trick. But Sun Tzu also warns about ego. He says, he will win who knows when to fight and when not to fight. Sometimes the smartest move is knowing when to walk away. I wish I'd learned that before arguing with my neighbor about parking spaces.
Okay, so real talk. How can people actually use this? Because unless you're leading an army, you're probably not plotting a siege this weekend. But think about it. Sun Tzu's idea of knowing yourself and knowing your enemy is just being self-aware and reading the room.
Totally. Like before you jump into a heated debate, ask yourself, do I actually know what the other person cares about? Or am I just charging in blind? I've definitely lost more arguments by not listening than by being wrong. Also, Sun Tzu's all about adapting. Don't just repeat what worked last time. Every situation's different. That's why microwaving leftover pizza never tastes the same twice.
And here's a practical move. Sun Tzu says, Appear at points which the enemy must hasten to defend. March swiftly to places where you are not expected. In real life, that means surprise people with kindness or take initiative where no one expects it. Like volunteering for the boring task at work. Suddenly, you're the MVP.
Or if you're me, you show up to the potluck with store-bought cookies when everyone else is stressing over homemade desserts. Sun Tzu would call that economy of effort.
All right, pop quiz time. Don't worry, we won't grade you much. Imagine you're in a group project and there's one person who always dominates the conversation. What's the Sun Tzu move?
This one got me thinking. Would you confront them head on? Try to outshine them? Or maybe, just maybe, redirect the group's focus somewhere they're less comfortable?
Seriously, pause it. We'll just be here, awkwardly waiting. Okay, got your answer? Here's what Sun Tzu would say. Don't attack strength with strength. Instead, find their weak point. Maybe they're not as organized as they seem. Offer to take on the planning, and suddenly, the power shifts.
Honestly, my first instinct was always to argue louder, but that never worked. Now I try to use what Sun Tzu calls indirect methods, like ask strategic questions that get the group thinking. Sometimes you win by not being the loudest voice.
If you thought outshine them, that's totally fair because it feels natural to compete. But Sun Tzu teaches us to win with subtlety, not brute force. Sometimes, the best move is to change the game entirely.
If you forget everything else, just remember this. If you know the enemy and know yourself, you need not fear the result of 100 battles. That's not just about war. That's about life. Know your strengths, know your challenges, and you'll always be a step ahead.
Okay, you know what time it is. Life lesson of the week. This is where we get a little real, a little vulnerable, and hopefully a little wiser. Dax, you're up.
All right, here's mine. This week, I totally misread a situation at work. I thought a colleague was upset with me, so I started acting defensive. Turns out, he was just stressed about something else. If I'd followed Sun Tzu's advice, observed, listened, and adapted, I would have saved myself a lot of anxiety. Lesson learned. Don't assume, investigate.
That hit me, honestly. I had a similar moment. I was so set on my own plan for a weekend trip that I bulldozed over everyone else's ideas. Not my finest hour. Sun Tzu says, "The skillful leader subdues the enemy's troops without any fighting." And maybe, sometimes, that means listening more than talking. Next time, I'm bringing more humility to the table.
All right, before we let you go, vocab check. Don't worry, this is the fun part. Let's break down a few key terms from today's episode.
First up, deception. In Sun Tzu's world, this isn't about lying. It's about strategy. Think of it as poker face energy. Example, pretending you're not interested in a job so you can negotiate a better offer.
Next, the moral law. It's all about shared purpose and trust. When everyone's on the same page, you'll move mountains. Or at least, finally decide on a pizza topping.
And finally, know yourself and your enemy. That's just self-awareness and empathy. If you can understand where others are coming from, you're already halfway to victory.
Seriously, thank you for hanging with us. Drop a comment, subscribe, and tell us your life lesson of the week. And remember, sometimes the best victories are the ones nobody even notices. Until next time.